When it comes to relationships, what is red pill?
Red pill is it's maybe a bit misogynistic. It's this idea that women are, they only date up and across, basically. Um, yeah, that's how I'd put it. And I think maybe a lot of neckbeards. A lot of people have maybe had trouble with women in the past.
Why are there more dating coaches for men than there are for women?
Because women are harder to understand. Men need dating coaches because to dissect a woman now is harder, especially the modern age woman now. We don't even know what they are for real. Like, women are trying to be men now, so it's hard to like decipher and like break them down.
Because women control the dating pool, dude. If you're a dude, it's hard out here. It's hard. 5% of the guys are gonna get all the pussy, and the rest, if a girl wants to have sex with you, she's gonna do it.
Sex sells. So women, they get attention no matter what. We build our attention off of, our money, our status, and we got to work a little harder in this society, in this dating life at least.
What are the qualities of a high value man?
Definitely looks number one, money's two, and if you have enough money, you can overcome being ugly for sure. And then personality, but that's like a distant third.
Just being someone who's a leader, someone who can financially provide, someone who has goals and aspirations, someone who is willing to provide for the other partner and kind of have a yin-yang with a feminine and masculine energy.
What's the difference between men's self-improvement versus sculpting yourself as a tool to be used by women?
Well, that's tough because, we sculpt ourselves like every like thing we do is like going towards women's like approval. We're trying to get money to get a house and get a car to, get a woman at the end of the day because they want all these things and they have high expectations and it's hard to meet those expectations.
If you want to do that stuff, you have to do it because you want it, not because you want the girl who wants that.
Doing it for yourself and improving yourself as compared to sculpting yourself for women.
Improving yourself to be a tool for somebody else really don't benefit you none. That's a simp.
How is that not the ultimate form of simping?
It is simping at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, I wanna treat my woman right. I'm kind of a romantic, I'm kind of an anomaly.
Maybe self-improvements on the inside, like personal development and, just getting jacked and being a man's man or Chad is probably.
Why should self-proclaimed dating coaches set the standard for what's considered high value when most men don't even qualify?
I don't think they should. It's not based off reality. I think a lot of these people, basing their analysis off what we see on TV.
I didn't understand how most of these dating coaches are single, and how can you take, advice from these people who are single? Because if you want to get a relationship, talk to somebody who's in a relationship.
I think dating coaches are not speaking from their own experience, or they have an agenda. They're a dating coach. So I think if most men are not qualified, then that's just going to drive more demand for what they're coaching. So inherently, they're incentivized to keep people unhappy.
It's almost like there's more money in treating cancer than curing cancer.
Exactly. Exactly what I'm trying to say, yeah.
If high value means money and status, would that make Hitler and Stalin high value men?
I don't think so, because I mentioned morals, and I don't know, you can't tell me that they had the best morals,
In social media, you don't really see, hey, this is an honest conversation, this is an honest guy, or this is an honest woman. It's like she's a hot woman, successful man.
Why don't these coaches focus on morals and integrity?
Because those are internal, and everything the ladies see is external, dude. We gotta do it for the gram.
He works in the NBA, or he's a musician. It's never, hey, that's my honest friend that I've known for 20 years, that I can trust with anything. So I think just inherently in the culture today, character and integrity is not as valued as it should be.
I really don't like the high value thing. I think every man that handles his business is high value. I don't think it has nothing to do with your status or your accomplishments or especially not your material value, your materialistic possessions. None of that stuff matters to me.
How is telling men that they need to become high value not just shaming all the average men who can't make it to the top 1%.
Dude, if you're average, she's not gonna fuck you. I mean, it just is what it is.
Does that mean that 99% of men don't qualify for women?
I'd say like 95, yeah.
Doesn't that reflect more upon the character of the majority of women?
I would agree with that. That's why most women are single or unhappy.
Even if you have a great woman, her friends might be like, oh, well, he didn't fly you out to Vegas, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. So it's like you're fighting against something that isn't real, which is, substantiated and validated by social media.
Honestly, I think maybe the women don't care about the morals, but that's a good one. You see girls with a bunch of assholes and shit instead of being with the nice guy, which that alone shows maybe the women don't want the morals.
Why is dating advice typically about coaching men to improve, but never about humbling women to accept more average men like they did in the past?
Because they're not going to. They got options, man. If they have to choose, they're going to choose the best, and the best will sleep with them, but they won't necessarily have long-term relationships with them.
So a lot of this content that's saying the men, that's just kind of what it always has been and what it is continuing to be. But yeah, I think women should also be held accountable, just like men are. Like there's privilege to being a man. There's a ton of privilege today to being an attractive woman.
Why should men be expected to bring more to the table than they ever have in order to please women who bring less to the table than they ever have?
Dude, it's not the 60s anymore. Women have thousands of options. I mean, she could literally slide in Michael B. Jordan's DMs. She'll be front row at a Raiders game. It's just how it is. Men have more competition than ever, and women have more options than ever.
You have to be at this level. If not, you're not a high-value man. I think they say it like as motivation, Because the truth is, not everyone's going to make it up there. But if you believe that you're going to, you might make it up there,
How is telling men that they need to become high value not just more of blaming men? Haven't we blamed men enough?
Yeah, we have. I think it's just another way to push a narrative.
Men are the bad guys for sure. But yeah, life's a fucking competition. So either you want to compete or get lost, dude.
Instead of sculpting men to appease a poor woman's character, why don't we focus on the poor quality of women?
That doesn't sell. Nobody's gonna buy that.
Because at the end of the day, the women will always have options, and the men have to chase.
The women set the rules for the dating market, so you got to appease women. I mean, they are the selectors in sexual intercourse. It's not the men who set the rules.
They're not able to get as much sexual attention as they want to. And so the caveat of that right now is to improve themselves, but I'm not saying that that's exactly 100% the answer. I think that men should be improving themselves, but I also think that women should get a little bit off their high horse.
Why are we still pushing for traditional gender roles and marriage without first changing the laws? Have you seen the divorce rates?
I think we should be educating on different types of relationships, non-traditional, traditional. And then the laws are all about politics, all about money.
Marry this woman, give up all this power to a woman with these laws in this time. You must be in love if you're doing that, because logically it does not make sense. And if you're a woman, then understand what that means.
The problem with traditional roles is they're not written into law. The laws are written into law, but not the roles of the sexes. So,
like, divorce or marriage is not easy. It's like a sacrifice on both parties, especially for the man.
Although I don't agree with traditional marriage, people are still pushing for it because they want that love. Love is not what it was before. So back in the day, relationships used to last so long, so people want to get back to that. They want to figure out what it takes to be like my grandmother and my grandfather. You feel me? So that's why they push it, but that doesn't mean that it was right in what they did, because a lot of those people are unhappy.
Are women the problem, or are the people influencing women the problem?
I think everything's a problem. I think guys are the problem for letting this shit happen, and women are the problem for pushing it. It's not just a man or a man, it's everyone.
Were women like this in the past, and are they like this overseas?
No, they're not. They're definitely not.
So is it female nature or female nurture?
Female nurture.
Why are men expected to change their biology, their nature, because women won't change their culture?
That's a strange question. That's a good one. I like that one. I don't think that we should have to change, because at the end of the day, men make the rules that govern societies.
Quote unquote hypergamy is biological. I think it's almost universal. If I had to guess, women prefer to date up and across in all societies, not just Western culture.
Why do people assume that things can't change when history has proven that things have already changed?
And they are continuing to change, but people aren't noticing that since women have started this feminist movement, we have been globally going downhill.
Like men's right, like it's assumed that men already have all the rights. I think in Vegas in particular, women have a lot of maybe unfair advantages, particularly with the nightlife and getting free stuff, and men can't get in certain places, they'll have all women's tables, that type of thing. But you're not going to go around talking about men's rights because it's a bad look, right? It's all about women's rights, and like nobody's going to take your side, or it's just you're pushing a boulder uphill at that point.
I mean, isn't that even more of a reason to talk about
it? Yeah, you could. I'm not good. I'm not going to fight that fight.
Right now, in our society, men are just more targeted, and it's the way it is. And honestly, until there's a movement otherwise, I don't think that a whole lot's going to change. And I think the only option for a man to be able to get the attention they want and the female reception that they're needing, they're really just going to have to level themselves up. And that's really the only answer right now until things change.
Just because you're anti-feminist, does that mean you're necessarily pro-men?
I would say no, that doesn't. Anti-feminist does not mean that you're pro-man. And I also don't think anti-feminist means that you're not for equality. It's just that the agenda of what the feminist movement is, there are toxic things to it. So you can be, pro-women and anti-feminist. You are not necessarily or pro-men if you're anti-feminist.
Don't anti-feminists often push chivalry, which still places women above men?
Yes, I would say it does. Feminism has really pushed to bring a woman as a superior over men, and I think that it's a false narrative that's really gotten instilled in a lot of women's mind, and it's just not necessarily true. And I think that they're going to deal with the sacrifices that they're making right now in their future, because I think biologically a lot of women want to have kids and have traditional roles.
Once again, the world is fallen. People live in sin. They love themselves, not God.
What are women exclusively held accountable for?
Women are held accountable for their bodies, for the way they smell, for being submissive to the man if the man is real in his love towards the woman.
What are women exclusively accountable for? Okay. That shouldn't be a hard question, but it is. Hold on.
Can you name anything in society that's not blamed on men?
No, most wars are blamed on men, rightfully so. Most violent crimes are blamed on men, rightfully so.
I mean, we're all fighting and starting wars for the love and beauty of women. I said that right. Love, booty, and beauty.
Why would we expect men to have an emotional well-being in a society that always blames men?
Wow, that's a good one. Again, it's the way that it's been for years. And to me, that's wild. That's crazy.
Why would we expect men to have an emotional well-being in a society that always blames men?
I guess that's a way to keep us trying to be high value, right?
There are a lot of men that are hurting or are going through these or dealing with these things, but they're not very vocal about it, and they don't have a platform because in society as a man, you're just told to deal with it.
Dude, you gotta grab onto your nutsack and get over it.
Take it like a man.
Take it like a man.
Take it like a man.
Take it like a man.